Hello and welcome to the Doctor Who therapy session with myself and Matt, if he has managed to pull himself back together after last night's Doctor Who finale.
There are no words. The hate boner was real. I've been avoiding furniture all day to stop knocking it over. It's just been, oh god.
That's an image and a half.
Just, yeah.
If there are any listeners left after that image, we'll jump right in. Boners first, shall we? We haven't got any news. There is no news apart from Doctor Who finished yesterday.
Thank God. Kill it with fire. Burn it. Burn everything.
Oh, the "kill it with fire" phrase has come out. Oh, that's early. No, last time I heard that was it was the reveal of Peter Capaldi, wasn't it? The last time "Kill It With Fire" and Zoe Ball and that really toe curling show that we watched.
Oh, Zoe Ball! I forgot about that. Oh, that was awful.
And you were just shouting out loud. Yeah. If you look back on all that nonsense, all that gubbins, it's 100% better than what we saw last night.
I miss that nonsense. I miss we talked about sonic screwdrivers not doing things, and now we have to talk about this.
Everything. It's literally everything. It's not like a little blip. It's not like, and this is all going to jump around all the time. It's not like the Timeless Child, which is one thing that you could probably go, yeah, that's pretty bad. This is just everything was just wrong on so many different levels.
What upsets me so much is we saw glimpses of what this season could have been. We saw glimpses of what Judy's tenure could have been, and then we were left with that steaming pile of dross.
I think that's the thing for me.
Just record the well and just play it on repeat for 8 episodes, because that would have been fine. That would have been great. I would have been happy.
I think that's the thing for me is I don't criticise things for criticising things' sake. If I see wasted potential in anything, I hate it. And this had wasted potential. Just the finale had wasted potential. And it disappoints me when you see something that could have been really good and ends up being really bad. That's what really disappoints me.
I'm just angry about everything.
So how are we going to direct this anger?
It just upset me.
We haven't done a...
shall we start at the beginning?
Yeah, because we've not done a review of Wish World. So this review is going to blend in, isn't it? It's basically just going to be the whole thing.
But we'll try and keep the 2-hour pain that was the finale.
Because you watched them back to back, didn't you?
Oh, what was I? I went. I'm going to be good. I'm going to let part 1 sit for a week. I'm going to watch them back to back, like RTD intended, and get the full experience. And I wanted to stop it all. I just wanted to go, nope, I don't want to do this anymore. I quit. I'm done. I've had enough. Enough is enough. It's over.
Yeah. Okay, we'll try and keep it in a coherent line and deal with some of the major things at the end, and sort of to see where it goes. But there might be some editing trickery I'll need to do after the fact to make it make sense.
Bloody timey-wimey nonsense. The whole, it was just a waste. Like episode 1, just delete it from the series. It was not needed. It was a waste of time.
That broke the pattern, didn't it? Because we've said for years, haven't we? It's a running joke that RTD's penultimate episodes are really good and finales are a letdown. This time, the finale was a letdown, but it was a letdown for something that was even worse. Because the first thing was just a waste of. It was. I can't put my finger on it. Again, there was so much potential there, but then it was just waste of time. No pun intended.
It didn't advance the storyline in any way, shape, or it just didn't do anything. There was no. It just didn't do anything. We spent 40 minutes waiting for a 5-minute reveal at the end. Going, oh mega, oh scary, oh, and then going, Poppy's real, right? Cool. I guess.
We'll get to Poppy.
Oh, don't get me started on Kin Poppy.
We'll get to her later. We'll get to Omega later. The concept of the Wish World setup was yet again this crossover between sci-fi and gods and monsters, wasn't it? Because you had this
Yes.
baby that
Yeah.
Rani, who hasn't got a TARDIS but is using a vortex manipulator.
Time ring. Yeah.
Oh, time ring. It wasn't. It was, yeah. I thought it was vortex manipulator, but in the moment you said time ring, so we're assuming it's a vortex manipulator, aren't we? Are we?
Yeah.
I don't know. We have to assume a lot, but she seemed to be able to precision point it. So she steals that baby. The baby then is. Lots of people moan that the Rani was like using magic powers and didn't get the concept of what she was doing. That was fine. The fact that she was utilizing the baby to turn the parents into owls and whatever else, ducks and things, that was fine. I got no issue with that. She was obviously using it. But the baby, what was the baby's name? Delirium, Presidium, Potassium. I can't remember.
Something
It had
like
a
that.
weird. It was.
Yeah.
That was
the god of wishes, whoever that may be.
Because that was the Holy Trinity, wasn't it? It was thrown away in the second episode in one quick line that was the third thing in it. So it was one of the many MacGuffins in this whole story, wasn't it? So by and large, didn't bother me because it was this whole gods and monsters thing. I didn't really get it. The reason that the baby was born was because the Doctor was interfering with the Pantheon. That was supposedly why it was born, and the Rani knew exactly where it was going to be born and how it was going to be born. That wasn't made clear. That was just one of those things.
And the fact it was born in whatever year, whenever it was, years ago.
On Earth.
Yeah.
And not in the new galaxy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Out of all the things,
and he was a seventh son of a seventh son. You go, all right, cool.
Yeah. Out of all the things that were wrong with this, that was by the by, but it was a MacGuffin to get us to the Wish World concept. Let's talk about the Wish World concepts itself, because that annoyed me, and it annoyed me because it involves Conrad, and we might as well just throw them both in. So Conrad, we spoke quite highly of him, didn't we, in our review? We said potentially this is a Lex Luthor. This is going to be someone who's a bit nasty.
Yeah, wasted.
Cut his balls off, didn't they? With literally these 2 episodes just turned him from a quite nasty 3-dimensional person into, I don't know,
a 2D side character.
And there was little hints that he kind of had a thing for the Rani, but one piece of dialogue, but we never got to see that relationship play out because he was just sat in a room reading the story, and that was it. What got me with the Wish World thing, and it annoyed me, but I can see the logic, but it annoyed me with the logic, was, so he's doing this thing, and he's created a world that is a misogynist world. He wished away the trans person. He ignored all the disabled people. He didn't like gay people. I felt that was a step too far, because he was a nasty person and he manipulated Ruby and he did all that, but at no point did he show any of those traits in that episode. Yes, he wasn't a nice person, but you didn't see him going around kicking disabled people. It was just an extra leap that, because he was like that, he's this stereotypical nasty person. And Ruby even mentioned it in her speech to him in the second episode, talking about whiskey drinking, cigar smoking, obviously a poke at dig at Andrew Tate. But it felt like he went from being just a nasty person to being, which was good in the concept of the story, to being a very stereotypical, if they are pro,
if you're like A, you must believe B, then you must be C.
You must hate disabled people, you must hate trans people, you must hate gay people. It just felt like it was and you must like.
I think there was a throwaway line when Rose reappears saying he couldn't possibly imagine that you could exist, therefore you didn't. And you just go, get fucked. Sorry, just piss. No.
And
just because he's a monster doesn't mean he can't visualize a trans person.
And also, it made out that the 2.4, like the nuclear family, was a bad thing. Like, Everyone is married and has children. Well, that's bad. That's the worst position to be in. And I felt that was a little bit like, no, there are obviously some outdated ideals associated with that kind of thing, but it's not a bad thing to want to be married and have a child. And that's not like the worst possible thing you could ever be in.
Yeah. Admittedly, it was a whole, so I've just had a thought here. So it's crystallizing my head.
Ooh.
Live on podcast. So the whole concept was the wife stays at home and does not work and raises the children. Unit, Kate is in charge.
Oh yeah, she still is in charge. Yeah, it should have been a man.
Because literally, Belinda and her mum and her grandmum go, oh no, what you do is you go, good little girl, good little wife, good little mother. And you go, wait a minute. And they go, oh, you don't go to work or anything, you just stay at home. But then they go, oh yeah, because you see, like the clip is all the chaps in their bowler hats and umbrellas going to work. And then you got
Kate
still
in
going,
charge.
oh, I'm in charge of the unit.
Yeah, it should have been the other way around. It should have been Jobby.
It's like they said, oh, you're like Mel going, I was a housewife. You going, all right.
That was brilliant because she said she was a housewife, but in the previous episode, she said she was alone and single when she had the dialogue with them. So they completely went backwards on their own storyline in the space of one episode. Anyway, but
it was a mess. It was an absolute mess.
Conrad, that frustrated me because that had real potential. They should have left him alone. They used. I could see what they were trying to do with it, and it kind of weaves into the Ruby thing, and I'll get to that in a minute. But it felt like it was a step too far for him to be like that because he didn't strike me as that kind of person. He struck me as being an evil, nasty person, but he wasn't a misogynist and he wasn't a transphobe and he wasn't a whatever, because we didn't see any of that. It was just like, oh, this if you do this, you must be this. And it was just, that was it. So the Wish World thing, the concept of him maintaining it by reading the J.K. Rowling book, that was an obvious jab at that. I'm sorry, it was. When it was that was just a blatant, yeah, we're gonna stick it to that fan group and things like that. So that was like, oh, for God's sake, do we need that? Do we need it? Anyway, so we had that. So the Wish World concept was loose to say the least. We didn't really get an understanding of how the Doctor got there. He just was there, wasn't he? That annoyed me. And it wasn't it the TARDIS ended up being where Thingy was sat with the baby in the first place. Right at the end, you found that out. What else? Anything else about the Wish World thing that we need to?
It literally just like the random rogue cameo going, oh, people don't work like that, and you're just going, oh god, it all felt just forced and contrived and just garbage. It was just absolute. Just why is Rogue making a bloody interdimensional hell telephone call to go to the Doctor? Oh, can I tell you one message? Table don't work like that, mate. All right. How? Why? Who? Come on.
That is just very reminiscent of. I'm going to take every reference to everything we've talked about in the last two seasons, and I'm just going to fire it at the wall, and everything is going to stick or not stick. It's just going to pepper spray it across the thing. So we had that. The Wish World, the Bone Beast thing, that was classic at RTD. That was classic Moffat. It's just a random thing. I've got an idea. We're going to have walking skeletons. Yeah. Now I need to build a story around it. That didn't bother me because that was classic New Who, where they just get a random idea and they go with it. In the pantheon of ideas, that was quite low down the list of random stuff that didn't make sense. You could argue that, and their explanation for it made sense as well. Yeah. It was what it was.
And I think the Mrs. Flood Rani dynamic, I hated it.
Right, let's move on to the Rani, shall we? Seeing as we're there. So,
Mrs. Flood, they spend 2 series setting her up. Other than one episode where she wasn't in, and then actually that episode became semi-important. And you're just going, why is this dynamic change? Why you've literally spent 2 seasons with a character building and building and building, and then suddenly that character just stands in the background and doesn't do anything?
Yeah, you had a fourth wall breaking character, which never explained how
Yeah,
she was talking to the audience, who was built up and built up and built up, and then she was subservient to her other self. That's not going to buy generation. He actually put in a social media post that he was going to explain it, and he never did.
he did.
Yeah, he never did. He?
Yes.
Did I
Jurassic
miss that?
Park. Life finds a way. Yes, it was a one-liner. Life finds
Oh,
a way.
jeez, I missed that bit. Oh well, okay.
It was
Yeah.
literally the Doctor and Rani are talking, and
Oh,
because the Time Lords are sterile, it's
we'll
life
come to
finding
that.
a way.
We'll
Literally,
come
they
to that
went
in a minute.
full Ian Malcolm on it.
So, with
Yeah.
that assumption, every regeneration going forward should be now bi-generation, but obviously it's not. So, anyway, we've gone to death on bi-generation, but we're still going to talk about it in context of the Rani. Yeah, no, I was right. I think you're right. The flip and then the continuous flip, the only way that would have worked is if old Rani had killed new Rani, betrayed her. That was the only way, or tried to betray her, that would have actually paid off, is if she just got sick of it. And because you thought, make him a sandwich, dear, and all that kind of, she was getting, you thought there was going to be a double cross, or there wasn't. Her surviving wasn't a double cross, but I thought something was going to flip, and she was going to try and double cross her, and then the new Rani was going to go, I prepared for this, and then double crossed her back or something, and that would have been quite cool in the context of the storyline. If Omega hadn't been there, it could have worked. But yeah, I thought the new Rani was great, but she didn't have much screen time.
She didn't do anything.
She expeditioned quite a lot, didn't she? She talked quite a lot, and that was about it.
Yeah,
but I thought the potential was there.
Yeah, it's a classic build and build and build, and no, it was a gun on a wall. There's build and build and build, and just no payoff to it.
No. So we had, because the concept under it all, there was Rani-isms in it about what she was trying to do, and how she was doing it was bollocks, and it was just weird. But the fact that she was trying to re-engineer the Time Lords was kind of quite true. And if you took away all the rubbish, that could have made an interesting storyline, couldn't it? With the one person who has the skills to try and genetically rebirth the Time Lords, would have been a really cool story on its own. If it had not been watered down by all the other gubbins.
I might have missed this completely, but obviously I can see you using Omega as like the OG Time Lord, but obviously you've got the Doctor and the Rani, who are also old Time Lord. Just use yourselves.
And
if you're going to use Omega's DNA, use yours. It's the same stuff.
Also, the Doctor being supposedly, well, she probably doesn't know he's a timeless child, so maybe that's how that got away. But he is the foundation of everything. But yeah, she could have just used herself, or more. Ooh, God, we could write this. Even more weird. The reason she bi-generated is because she wants to experiment on her older self. That would have been more weird and kind of twisted, but it would have worked. Imagine seeing old Mrs. Flood on being cut up on a stasis tube. That would have been really cool. Because there's no mercy there. She's just cutting herself up. Oh, that would, wasted potential. Yes, so Rani, I laughed out loud when she got eaten. It's like, oh, she's gone. That's it. She's gone.
Again, it was the worst payoff ever. It's here's the big bad. Oh, it's just eating the protagonist.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
and now I'm just going to take this thing off the wall and shoot you, I guess. Just
so the wasted potential of the Rani.
It was just terrible.
He brought her back to kill her off in. Someone put on Twitter how much screen time she actually had to the new one, and it was hardly any. And it's just
felt like about 15 minutes. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, most of it was just explaining stuff rather than showing stuff. It was just explaining things.
Yeah.
And riding around on the Flash Gordon motorbike. That's about it.
Which again, why? That's pointless.
Yeah, it's a Moffordism. Yes, we're gonna have a Flash Gordon motorbike. Right, let's build an episode around that. Yeah, so the Rani, and obviously old Rani's gone, but that means nothing because, well, we're assuming, well, she can't, she has to, she can't regenerate again. She's like old man Tennant.
Who knows?
She has to die. Yeah, who knows? But she's gone. It should have been the other way around. Either she should have double crossed her, or the new one should have survived, and the old one should have died. But it felt the
That's the
opposite
thing.
to me.
It would have been good to see old Rani die
Cockpit.
and see if regeneration actually works.
Yeah, because you'd said that, but so the Rani just got punked out, which is just a waste, absolute waste of 2 seasons worth of build, really, a mystery thing, built. Oh, they're gone. What next?
Omega. Please, can we just shout about Omega for 5 minutes?
Omega, one of my favourite, to the point where is preamble to it. I watched 3 Doctors because I like him so much. I wanted to show my son about him and what it meant and stuff like that. And the moment that door opened, I looked at the door and that's a big door. That's going to be some CGI turd that walks out. And it was just basically Sutek without the dog mask on, wasn't it? But the same thing. Sutek, I could let them off last year. But this one, no, it needed to be a person. And that's why my misgivings going into the episode was it's not going to be a person because they haven't got enough time, no joke intended, to actually introduce another actor into this. So it's going to be some kind of CGI thing. I didn't think it was actually going to be anything coming out. I thought maybe it was just going to be a voice or something like that, you know. But when it was the CGI bone thing, it's like, oh,
blob
God.
monster, yeah.
And it was just like,
again, it was just a waste.
Waste of
Omega, this is going to be really, really cool, and literally 5 minutes.
It was
build up, door open, shoot in the face with a laser cannon.
The lore behind that and the consequences of Rassilon, Timeless Child, love it or hate it. It was all wound into it, and it could have been a really whole season story arc around Omega, and doesn't have to include the Rani. Could have included the Rani. Could have been anything, but it was just like it felt like it was. Oh, everyone's asked for Omega to come back. I'm gonna bolt him onto this as well. Why don't we just do all the stuff people have been asking for years, all in one go? So yeah, and then obviously the doctor doesn't use a gun, but used a gun that we didn't know was a gun, but just happened to be a gun.
Yeah.
With some description about it being a gun when he's never mentioned it being a gun to kill it.
Well, I think they say it contained the force of however many
neutron stars,
supernovas or whatever.
Yeah, whatever it was. Yeah.
And you go, cool. So you're unleashing that in a room of people. Well, they're all dead then, and so's the planet and the universe. Just everything dies there and then.
But it was used as
a gun. It's not a laser beam. It's
Omega's not dead though. He just got pushed back into his little hole. So he'll pop.
But that was not Omega. It was this, because they did that throwaway line of, he's become what you've imagined kind of thing. Could have been sat in the underworld or whatever it is. So he just becomes this big gribbly mess, and you go, really?
Yeah, because he did create the universe, the antimatter universe himself, and modeled and changed his looks and stuff like that. But he didn't have. It's like, I've got all this. It's like they've got all this budget for CGI. Let's just use it. I'll come to that's more of a theme that's been building in my head over the last 24 hours about style over substance. But there was no way they could introduce Omega as a payoff. It just wouldn't work in that small amount of time they had to do it. It just wouldn't work. So it was always going to be a CGI thing because there was no way they could make him a character.
Yeah, it was a waste. It was an absolute waste and a disservice to what could have been a really good villain.
Yeah, on both sides, Rani as well as.
Rani was wasted. That was a disservice. The Omega was wasted. That was a disservice. Conrad was wasted. That was a disservice. And we'd only 45 minutes. It was just, why? Just write a good bad guy. Come on. This should not be that difficult. it's like you're going, did you have a plan? Did you
No.
just go, oh yes, I'm going to resolve this. I've got an hour and 50 minutes to set it up and resolve it.
Yeah.
And then you wasted 20 minutes going about bloody Poppy, who didn't bloody matter about bloody anything.
Poppy. I think Poppy is now suppressed, superseded whatever Space Babies as for the amount of times that word. I am going to go back and watch both episodes, and I am going to count how many times Poppy is mentioned, because that second episode, it was mentioned all the time, literally over and over and over. Just in case you forgot, it was just mentioned. It was just mentioned all the time, and it just got really, it grated.
Yeah, and again, like at the end of the first part, when it's going, Poppy is real, and what does that mean? And you go, it then made sense in part 2 when you're thinking, this is a Time Lord, mini Time Lord, and you go, okay, cool, and then it ties into Susan and all the stuff. You go, well, actually, if the Time Lord's a sterile, how does the Doctor have a daughter and a granddaughter and all that stuff?
Well, that's the thing. The sterile thing was that because it got woven into how did the Rani survive. So were they saying that? I know you didn't see it, but the genetic bomb that the Master
when they all
detonated,
got Cybermanned.
Well, it was after they all got Cyberman, and then there was a genetic bomb that killed the DNA of Time Lords to stop them, but it was across all the universe. Are we saying it was that made them sterile, or was that something else that made them sterile? It wasn't clear.
I think it was meant to be that, because it tore apart their DNA at the same time. But again,
it was
having seen it, I don't know.
Well, no, they didn't mention anything about sterility. They just told about how to stop the Masters, Time Lord, Cybermen, the detonated bomb that would wipe out all the Time Lords again. Never mentioned about them not being able to have kids. So that was a whole new thing that was just thrown in there. But it also brings into question how Susan survived. But that's a whole different conversation anyway. But that was new. That was like, oh, okay, right. They're sterile, are they? Okay, fair enough, but that's not what was said before. So he's changing canon again and just making it more and more confused. Granted, it wasn't his idea, but it was quite simple. They were all killed again.
Yeah.
Well, twice. Master killed them and made them into Cybermen, and then she had to kill them again to stop them regenerating. So the sterility thing was just bizarre subplot that was just like, okay, this is just weird. And the whole Poppy thing, well, originally I still thought it's going to be the Timeless Child and they're going to create the bootstrap paradox where he created himself, and I was like, okay, I've made my peace with this. If this is what they're going to do to rectify the Timeless Child, I'll be happy with it. That they take that kid and they put it in the thing, and then Jobby finds it and it just starts the cycle. Fair enough. Didn't happen. Second one, we thought it was going to be the wish from Space Babies, because there was that clip that was flying around that I sent to you where the Doctor and Ruby said, we wish you were your parents, but we're not. Ooh, really good. Come to the theory about that in a minute. So originally, I thought it would be that. No, it just... the Poppy thing just got me, A, confused, and B, I just, yeah. So it ties into Belinda. Don't know how we're going to do this.
I'm going to be a terrible person for 2 seconds, but in that last episode, she forgot how to act. Well, she literally, any acting talent that the lass who plays Belinda had just disappeared.
Yeah,
she became wooden and pointless and just bad.
This is where I think one of the big changes has happened. If you think for a minute, if you removed Belinda from that episode and supplanted Ruby, or just left Ruby where she was, don't you think that story suited Ruby a hell of a lot better than Belinda? I think, and I am that for whatever reason, and we probably won't find out for 10 years, Millie Gibson was removed from season 2 and written out of it, and Belinda's character was put in there to fill the gap. Now, they couldn't get rid of Ruby completely because I think she'd filmed some stuff already, so they worked around it. But I think for whatever reason, Ruby was meant to be the main character through 2 seasons, and it should have ended because we never understood why she remembered all that stuff at the end and no one else could. That was never explained. But if you took Belinda out of, especially that last episode, and I'll come to some of the stuff in a minute, it fitted Ruby's story arc more to go from season 1 all the way through to season 2. Belinda didn't fit. There was no reason for her to be in season 2. We never found out why, and it was obviously we know why because it was the same actress, but why the Doctor had met her, and he said, "Oh yeah, why am I seeing you and your ancestors in the future?" It was a throwaway thing. And with what happened at the end, there was no reason for Belinda to be in any of those stories. It didn't make sense. Whereas Ruby could have gone all the way through. And I think something happened in production. And there's rumours that they thought that Shooty and Millie Gibson didn't get on, didn't have chemistry, and they took her out of it. Arguably, I think it was a mistake. I think they've always had chemistry. I think they were really good. I genuinely think that finale episode was meant to be for Ruby's story arc, and they had to make it work. Whether that would have been with Poppy or not, I don't know. But it stank they've shoehorned Belinda into this to make it work.
Yeah, Belinda didn't fit in that story at all.
No.
And she just didn't have any lines, and she was just a shouty, screamy, just didn't do anything.
They put her in a box for a good part of the episode and just got rid of her. And a lot of people who were supporters of the actress said that was really bad, that they just literally put her in a box and shut the door on her for the climax of that episode, which leads me to my theory. She shouldn't have been there in the first place, and the only reason she was something happened in production and they switched it up. No, you're right. The only good bit was the bit with Poppy's jacket that got smaller and smaller and smaller. I thought that was done really well, and I was like, "Ooh, that's good."
Yeah.
But then the Doctor and Belinda completely acted out of character and started getting tetchy with Ruby, and also before as well. The concept of, and maybe I'm jaded, but I couldn't grasp this. Why are we trying to save a child that doesn't exist? It didn't. I had no emotional connection with that baby because we've only seen it in one episode, really. And there's this obsession with it all the way through. Obsession. And I just couldn't grasp that obsession with trying to save it. And people have argued, oh, that's the Doctor. He committed suicide to save one life. But it wasn't real. And that's the thing. It wasn't as if it was something that was alive. It was part of that universe. Like everything else was part of that universe. And arguably, if one baby was created as part of Wishworld, how many other babies were created in Wishworld that died? He didn't save any of them, did he? So the whole Poppy thing and Belinda and Ruby, it all kind of weaves in together.
Yeah, because like we said, it was meant to be that Poppy did exist in universe 1 degree left.
And they never explained why it was Space Baby.
And like all those, exactly. That's more my issue with it. I'm going, but why are you a Space Baby? It's just why? What?
It could have been any baby. Why did it need to be the Space Baby? It's as if they only had that one on contract, so they had to use that one again. They could have any other type of baby and it would have been fine. But why did it have to be the Space Baby? The Space Baby that, again, Belinda, substitute for Ruby, Belinda knows nothing about. If Ruby had been there, she'd know exactly who it was. Again, I think that's another callback that never happened. So it's meant to be Ruby in that position. And they've had to change it.
Yeah, because it now makes sense with the story time episode.
Yeah.
Where they see the baby, because it's reality trying to bleed through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm more I think about it, more I'm convinced that she was removed for whatever reason, because there were rumours, weren't there, in the press that there was something going on, that she got pushed aside, and was kind of left with like, okay, we'll keep you on. We're going to do this. We've already filmed this, so we're going to have to keep doing it. That kind of stuff. And she was brought in as a last minute kind of replacement because it just the whole arc, her arc, and we'll get to her arc in a minute, just didn't make sense. There was no need for any of it.
Like we said, wasted potential should just be the tagline of Chuti's series.
Yeah.
The whole 2-series block is you saw glimpses of what could have been amazing, but the majority was just tripe, just absolute garbage, or forced nonsense that just didn't achieve anything. And you go, oh, God's sake, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Where next?
We had the conclusion with Poppy. I got confused. This one confused me because I had to. This is why, if we were doing this review yesterday, I wouldn't have worked it out. Am I right in thinking that the Doctor changed time so that the Poppy would be real and it would be Belinda's? Is that what it was supposed to be? My original thought was she always had a baby and we just never knew it, but that can't be right because she didn't live in a house like that. She lived in a flat with her flatmates. So it can't have been that she always had a baby. It has to have changed time so she kept Poppy alive.
So
that's what I'm thinking at the moment.
I'm now confused myself because I think the Belinda he meets to say goodbye to is an alternate universe Belinda who has Poppy.
I thought it was he changed the timeline so that she always had Poppy, but she never did at the start. So he willed her into existence and gave her to Belinda. Or it just, yeah. What I'm saying is Belinda, when we met her at the start, never had a baby. That's what we agree on. That's right. That's all I need to know because she never lived in that house. That's how I worked it out. She never had a house like that.
Yeah.
Which is interesting in itself. Assuming the Doctor did that and he willed that kid into existence, he basically forced that child on Belinda, who didn't know any better. So maybe she didn't want a baby. She's got one now. She won't know any different.
And then she has a partner who isn't a partner anymore, or is the partner. I just when you just go, I don't know what's going on anymore. Please
the best bit with that
this.
It made me chuckle is when he says, well, he asks the question, who's the father? I just imagine old man Tennant walking in going, well. Or you just see him walking across in the background and there's no one says anything. He's walked past in his slippers. Oh, we'll get to old man Tennant in a minute.
I did have to laugh. Yeah. Well, yeah, we will get to old man Tennant in a minute. The whole Poppy thing just was a mess.
Yeah,
it was just a complete mess.
Because I just lost track of what was going on, what was real, what wasn't, and this obsession with one. I know what it was about. I know what they were trying to do, but it's obsession with one baby when there was probably millions that had been created in this wish world, which he wasn't bothered about. He basically forced it upon Belinda. Tough luck, love. You now got a baby to look after because you wanted it in this world that no longer exists. Oh, yeah.
Because you had been programmed to want it. It's like the whole thing is just an absolute minefield of mess, isn't it?
Oh, Lord, right. What else? There's something went through my head. Oh, just the whole hodgepodge of the time hotel. I liked Anita. I don't like her anymore. I suppose in the whole scheme of things, like the bone beast, it was another way to get out of things. It kind of made sense. Obviously, it was also tied into this boss character, which we still don't know about.
Yeah, it was very Deus Ex Machina, wasn't it? It was just a case of,
this is how we're going to get it.
If I open this door and then you're not part of that world anymore, you won't be under the witch's influence anymore. And if I open the door and let real time in, you then all get fixed. Yeah, and then all the unit people get activated.
It was.
Can we talk about Mel in the lift? Well, we'll talk about unit people getting activated.
Yeah. Well, Mel, who got activated, and A drove her scooter up a massive thing, and also
Elevator.
managed, to get a perm between the time she got on the motorbike and the time she got there, because she didn't have a perm when
Yes.
she put a helmet on,
Yep.
and she's never had a perm. I think maybe the only reason she had a perm was that the Rani recognised who she was. At one point, I
Yeah,
thought
could have tried to
maybe.
do the old version, but weren't they?
At one point, I thought, oh, I wonder if that is the Rani in disguise, and it would be hilarious, a la Kate O'Mara. But no, they didn't even do that. Ugh. Yeah, Mel was just there to recognise the Rani. That's the only reason she was there.
Yeah.
I can't even. Shirley, disabled girl, was just there for someone. Loads of people on Twitter were saying that is actually the way she was written was really bad, because basically she was only in it to be discriminated against, and that's not a really progressive way to write someone in a wheelchair. To basically, the only thing she really did was get a ramp put in the TARDIS, but no one ever used it, and now all she was used for was a discrimination tool. I thought, yeah, I can't comment on it, but it's true. And then Rose obviously was just there because, well, why not?
Yep.
Unit, yeah, it is what it was, wasn't it? I got a list. Let's look at my list.
Yeah, the whole. It's like when the bone beasts get activated, but you go and they're not really there, and they're kind of only half material. And then the next thing you know, they're firing laser cannons at them. We go, oh look, we're going to go full like Star Destroyer on this.
Yeah,
Just
that wasn't
just
too
all
bad,
felt.
to be honest. It was what it was. I'm just looking at my list, and obviously the last bit, which we'll get to. No, that was it. That's all I got. I think. Can't really think of anything else about the whole mess of the story. Now, regeneration time. So, rumors ahoy, and I didn't realize this because I don't really follow them anymore. Every surprise in that finale had been leaked. The Rani had been leaked, Omega had been leaked, 13 had been leaked,
In
the
the sun.
Regeneration had been leaked, yeah, and Billy Piper had been leaked. I hadn't realised that. So the BBC had gone back to being the leaky colander that it used to be like many years ago. So, but one of the things that has been leaked, and again, if it's coming from the same sources, is the entire last 15 minutes was done in reshoots, because there was a promotional image which I have available, which is that one, which came out, and it is the Doctor and Belinda at a party, and you can see in the background it says Happy something day, and it's supposed to be Happy May Day or something, May 24th, whatever. Because what was supposed to happen at the end of that episode, it was only supposed to be 45 minutes long, and they were supposed to go to a big party and everyone's there celebrating. Apparently scenes were filmed with that robot, Blinks, being the DJ, and it was supposed to be all kind of quirky.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, Susan was supposed to be like stood on a balcony, like observing him from a distance, and that was supposed to be the hook into Ncuti's third season. But all the stuff, now, basically don't believe what they say in a lot of the press stuff, and then Unleashed, it was kind of, wasn't mentioned, but you could tell it was all done. He was wearing the same clothes in all the kind of closing speeches he was saying to the crew. It was done in reshoots. That whole bit when he's in the last sort of Lord of the Rings finale, which went on for ages, was done in February this
7
year.
endings. Yeah.
So it was done after he said he was going to leave, which leads to the stunt casting for Billy Piper, because they hadn't
stunt
planned
casting
for
of the highest order.
Yeah. So we were assuming he committed suicide to regenerate. That's a new one for me. Don't think a Doctor's ever committed suicide before. The closest will probably be 9, but he didn't commit suicide. He took the energy out of Rose to save her.
No.
Who else commits? Has anyone else physically chosen to regenerate?
It's 1.
Old age. Same as War Doctor, old age. So that's natural. The Doctor here physically forced himself to regenerate, which I don't think that's been done before in that way. Normally, you'll take a bullet for someone, or you'll just get attacked, killed, whatever, or old age twice. But no, this one, he physically forced himself to die to save a child that was nobody's. It's just bizarre when you put it like that.
It's just weird. The whole. Could we talk about 13?
Oh god, yeah, I forgot about her. That was the point that I broke when she wandered down those stairs. I'm like, oh god.
Yeah. I've been kicked out my timeline, and when he goes, I thought it was going to be the other guy. We just go Tenant.
Should have been. It should have been 10, not 14, because that'd be even more funny.
Yeah.
Oh god. The only saving grace, and it's a small one, is she sounded more like the Doctor with him writing for her than Chibnall could ever do. It was just, it did feel more natural.
But again, wasted potential. You had that 2-second clip of what she could have been. What wound me up most about it? By generation. What's that then? You're the same person.
Yeah. Russell said and this is the whole thing where they just mess with canon and don't fix it, and it annoys me. I know it's a really nerdy thing, but he said jokingly in that bloody commentary, everybody's going to buy Generate. So she should have buy Generated already.
Yes.
She should know exactly what it is. Because she would have seen 12 when they swapped, but she hasn't done. So it's flippant things with canon and then not bothering to quantify it that makes it worse.
Oh God. Hang on. So 12 dies and 13 steps out. But when 13 dies, 13 continues and 14 steps out. And now there's like 3 of them.
Oh, they're all David Tennant.
Yeah, they are all David Tennant. It's just
everyone's David Tennant. It's easy. David Tennant or the Rani. It's one of the two. He's 50-50 chance of getting it right. That was it's just like it was just like a middle finger to the fans, and people don't like it. Oh, we're just gonna bring her back. There you go, bastards. It's like it's like the twitching corpse of Doctor Who's down there, and it's just another steel toe cap to the balls, isn't it?
Like the meme I post on my own Facebook. Just stop! He's already dead. Just stop it. And what broke me is when 15 regenerates and he's in space. He goes, I don't want to be on my own. And then he goes, I drove to the world. The star just bleeps. I lost it
because that was
I had to physically restrain myself from throwing the TV remote at the TV. I was not impressed.
Stephen Moffat made this big song and dance about having to read the script for the finale before he could do the Christmas special because it was really important. That random girl was a star and flashed at him, and that was it. That was the only. And I suppose you could argue that the hotel thing had something to do with it as well. So okay, fair enough. But that's the first thing that came in my head. Oh right, you had to keep all that secret just for that little bit. But no, the hotel was there. But there's something about 13. I was going to say, oh no, I need to go and tell Yaz I love her. No, you don't tell her that. Said, for God's sake, just leave it alone. It was so corny. It was better that the Doctor was completely oblivious to Yaz fancying it, because it was more like an alien person should be. Completely oblivious and not. That was the only saving grace of that thing, was that she had no concept that Yaz was full on lesbian for her, and it worked. But the fact that now there's sort of like validating that, it's like, no, it was better when she was just completely oblivious. So yeah, she wanders off, and then old dingy cop goes and flashes to what's her face in the sky, and then old Billy Piper pops in. When it happened, because my son was
2006 all over again, eh?
Yeah, my son was like, he's going to regenerate, and then we did it, and he's like, he generally just he deflated because he knows who Rose is, and he just went, and the excitement just ebbed out of the room, whereas I'm whimpering in the corner going, no.
I honestly thought it was going to fade to black when he lit up.
I thought the face would start to change, and then it was just going to up, and that would have been brilliant.
Yeah. And then when Billy Piper's face appeared, I just went, oh, this is stunt casting of the highest caliber.
Well, going back to what I genuinely believe, they had no plan. They had no plan. Ncuti was going. They haven't got another season, so they've thrown her in there as a hook, as something to get the press talking, get people on social media talking, get everyone talking. Where it leads to,
and it worked.
Oh yeah, it worked. It worked
because every newspaper article was, shock Regeneration.
Yeah.
What, you mean the least shocking shock ever?
Well, yeah, and there's lots of things. A lot of people on Twitter, because I've been living off it, just getting the vibe, were not happy that Ncuti has been undermined when he started by Tennant and by Billy Piper when he left. That he has been undermined both ends. That why can't he just have regenerated into him, and why can't he just have gone without going into something else? Because he's left, but no one's talking about him leaving. Everyone's talking about Billy Piper.
Yeah.
And the Ncuti fans are not happy about that and saying, well, some people say, it's racism. No, not racism. It's just bad writing, bad
it's just
decision
bad
making.
writing.
Is she going to be the Doctor, though? That's the big question. I don't think she is. The fact is, she was not introduced as the Doctor in the credits, and that both of them, Billy and RTD, have been at pains in the press interviews to say that she's not. They've not confirmed or denied it, have they? They're a bit ambiguous. So is it going to be Bad Wolf being spat out of the TARDIS? Is it going to be... Somebody made a really interesting thing on a YouTube video, which I thought it'd be quite funny if they did this, that literally the face is just going to keep revolving into a different one, and then eventually in the new series it'll finish on someone else, so you might see another face. It just keeps going, so you see her and then it kind of just disappears again and goes into something else. That might be quite funny. So actually she's only in there for 2 seconds just to wind people up.
That would be hilarious.
Just to kind of troll people,
or is she literally going to be the Doctor for like the first 10 minutes or something?
Or is it going to be something a little bit random? The one good thing is she's a good actress. I've seen her in a few things, and she's really good, and she's better than Whittaker.
She's grown since 2005.
And she's quirky enough to pull it off if they go full on Piper. If they do, it's just desperation. Because it's, why can't you pick someone new? Why do you have to keep making callbacks? The Tennant callback was bad enough, but to do it again in very quick succession is like,
because they're calling back to when it was good, and it has not been for the last. Yeah.
And Russell has a thing for picking actors and actresses he likes. Russell Tovey, how many times has he been in a Russell T Davies thing? He always picks his favourites. Barrowman would have been in it had he not been blacklisted and all that bollocks. By now, he would have picked all his faves in it again. So he's going back to what he knows. We don't know, because they've not. He says he's written the next 2 series. Bollocks. If he doesn't know who Mrs. Flood was going to be when they bloody cast what's her face in it, and then he's kind of made it up on the spot, he hasn't got a plan. This is all lastminute.com. Right, we need something. What we're going to do, kind of thing. And they've picked her. So whether she is it full time, I don't think she will be. I think there's going to be some kind of get out that will allow them to kind of pass it off. And I think it'd be really just funny if literally 10 seconds and her face just goes into somebody else. But we'll see.
Perhaps we might have a Doctor episode. It might just be a continuous regeneration thing.
Yeah, just keeps going.
Yeah.
I don't know. Either way, it was stunt casting. It was there to make an impact. It made an impact. Most people didn't like it.
When/if do we think it's coming back?
Well, the TARDIS set is still built, because those influencers are all invited down this week to film content there. So apparently it's still there. If BBC make a decision to go with it, we've not heard anything yet. Earliest we're looking at is Christmas next year, I think. I think Christmas will be the logical next.
So we're guaranteed not to have a Christmas special this year.
No. I think Christmas 2026 6 is when we'll see anything. If
it comes back Christmas 2026 with a Christmas special,
and then
back in March
2027. Yeah, that's the timeline I'm thinking. God, I hope what's her face is still alive, because they're gonna sort out Susan, because she wasn't even in that bloody episode, was she?
Oh, she was for half a second.
Yeah, and she's 85 now. Jeez.
Yeah.
So they've got to make a resolution to that, which I knew they wouldn't do. God, I said they're never going to be able to squeeze all that in.
Yep.
And apparently he's got it all plotted out. Bollocks.
Has he hell?
He has got it planned.
She should have been eaten by Omega as well. Just Omega just eats everybody. That's all it should have been. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. So it's all. I'd be really interested to know what happened behind the scenes with this. We won't know for like 10 years or so.
No.
It's like the whole Eccleston thing that.
Yeah.
You knew something was not right, but you just didn't know what it was. It's going to take a long time, because Millie Gibson's in a totally different position, because she's a young actress, up and coming. Christopher Eccleston doesn't give a fuck now, because he's always been a really established actor. But there's something there that happened in between season 1, season 2, and then obviously Shooty left, which is fair enough, because he's right. The fact that he said, "Oh, I was always planning to do 2 seasons," bollocks. That a lot of that spin that you saw coming out yesterday was, you just got to believe that was spin. That they filmed that and they recorded all these statements. Nah, he was never gonna just do 2 seasons. He was on for 3 at least. But quite rightly, he left, because he can't just sit there waiting, can he? So it's done now for the moment. The ratings last night were, where are we? 217 on the night. Bear in mind, no one saw it earlier, so the pluses will be interesting. We haven't got the pluses for last week's episode, but it was 183 down.
Was episode 6 a blip by any chance? Was that the following the football or something again?
Before Eurovision. That was after the football, before Eurovision. So that's the blip. So you had episode 3, which was after the FA Cup semi-final, and episode 6 was after the FA Cup final, before Eurovision. And this one was not much of a blip, really, but because everyone else was watching it at the same time. The thing that will be the excuse this time will be a combination of people watched it at the cinema, and that Britain's Got Talent final or semi-final was on at the same time. And that got quite a lot of views from quite a few million watch BGT. So, I don't know. It's on pause. We know that. And no matter how much they spin it, it's going to still be there.
Yeah. Wasted potential. Just absolute waste.
There was some really good. Twitter was really good. There was lots of angry people, and there was lots of RIP Doctor Who people, which is understandable. But there was some really good stuff. There's one person on there that said, paraphrasing, basically, today's Doctor Who is built around making viral social media moments and not about making good stories. And I actually thought that's true. That's actually, gone are the days when you had a story. And there's a whole thread about it, but basically saying, they're now concentrating on social media and YouTube and not on the full end-to-end story. And I thought, if you look at that Wish World thing, the moments, you could slice and dice it, couldn't you, when the moments were that could be put on social media. There was also other people saying it's far, with the budget, it's as if they've spent loads of money on it and it's all style and no substance. It's too clean and it's not dirty and kind of raw. And someone on TikTok said that the monsters are all too flashy and not scary anymore. So this girl, she's a new Who one I just found on the feed, she was talking about gas masks, weeping angels, all that stuff that were grounded in reality that kids must think was frightening. Now it's all CGI stuff. Yeah, the well, because you didn't see it. It's all in your head. And that's
the best episode they did of the last 2 seasons and probably the last 10 years was the thing in the corner of your eye that you can't see.
Yeah.
And that sent shivers down me. I'm just going, oh yeah, I'm fully here for this. But the rest of it, you're going, I just don't care.
Yeah,
And
there's
as for
lots
space
of
babies, that can burn in hell.
because I sat there on holiday with my son and he hadn't watched any Capaldi. I was like, right, okay, we're going to watch a Capaldi. So I just thought I'll pick a random one with no lore in it. And it was the one with Robin Hood, which I've forgotten how funny it was. And I just sat there and thinking, this is great, because all it is the Doctor being a bit of an arse because Robin Hood's real. That's the kind of the story. And then the space robots who are stealing gold from people to fire a spaceship, and he's got to stop it. And it was a simple storyline with sci-fi elements. And then we watched Time Heist after, which is great, where it's that whole timey-wimey thing where they're trying to rob a bank in space. And it had the space thing, but it was all grounded in simple story. And it all made sense. And there was no sledgehammer political statements in it. There was no, I don't know, all this kind of stuff. It was just simple stories, and it just worked. And the Doctor was just in the front of it. The companion, Clara, was not being annoying. She was all right. And it was kind of just working. And I just thought, where's that gone? I said it before, I'll say it again. It's not for kids. It's not for families anymore. It's targeted at the social media. I know I could say old person saying this. It's the social media generation. They're targeted it at.
Yeah.
And it's not
the TikTok
working.
generation.
Yeah, and that's what it is. And we know it's that, and it's a subsection of that generation, and it's not working because they're not loyal. They will just wander off.
No. Yeah.
But it does not excuse the fact that those last 2 episodes were just a clusterfuck.
But garbage. Yeah.
Of so many ideas, so much wasted potential.
So. Season 2, we had episode 1 was 4 out of 10.
Oh, got scores.
Episode 2 was 6 out of 10. Episode 3 was yes, please, more of this num 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 num. Episode 4 was I really like that as well. Let's have some more of that, please.
Oh, that was
please
good,
have more Conrad. We like him.
Yeah.
Episode 5 was this is good TV, but it's not Doctor Who.
Oh yeah.
And we sort of said like 6s, 7s, but it's for the TV, not for the Doctor Who-ness.
Yeah.
Episode 6. Did we give that a score, or were we just getting angry by that point? Oh no, the Rani by Regeneration, so we just got angry at that point.
Oh, Interstellar Song Contest thing. We never gave that a score, did we? Really? No.
I think it was just one of those. It was fine.
That's 6.
It was
a
45-minute bit of fun. If you just delete the last 5 minutes, it becomes 10 times better. Yeah, delete the ongoing storyline, it becomes a lot better episode. And then we have episodes 7 and 8.
Now.
Did not finish, did not get a score, burn it.
Yeah, it's just wasted potential. I don't know. It just depresses me. The first one was worse than the second one. If I had to score them both, I'd score the finale higher than the one before it. Just because they were little.
Because RTD broke his normal record.
Yeah, it did. I would probably.
Because normally you have like a 9 or 10 out of 10, and then like a 4, maybe a 3 kind of thing. You go, yes, you peaked, you've shot your load, and now you don't know what you're doing anymore.
Yeah, but Moffat was the same. Moffat did the same thing. It would be like, and then drops off the edge because he's run out of ideas. Yeah. And Chibnall we don't talk about. I don't know. It's like maybe Wish World 2, generous, and Reality War 4, 5, maybe 4.
So are we saying Reality War is better than Robot Revolution?
Oh no. Oh yeah.
Yeah, now the scores become a problem, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah, it was better because Robot Revolution was just sledgehammer to crack a nut statement about men. So at least that didn't have much political nonsense in it. So yeah, I'm going to say better than that.
Okay, cool. We have some scores. Series overall.
Was it better than last year? Was it better than season 1 with him? No, I don't think.
No, because the Sutek episode 1 was just really good.
And Ruby was great. I still like Ruby and him together. And Belinda was a waste of space.
Yes.
So yeah, I'd have to say that even though the well was in there, it wasn't enough to lift it up. I think there was more consistency in the end of last season than there was in this one.
Yeah.
So the season 1 started off really poor, but built.
Yes.
Whereas this one started off mediocre, kind of blipped in the middle, and then there was Conrad, and then it went and then
just jumped off a cliff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. Oh, we didn't talk about Old Man Tennant.
Question for you.
Oh yeah.
Before we talk about Old Man Tennant.
Yeah.
Better than the Flux or worse than the Flux?
Oh, good God. The Flux had potential. That's the other thing. It had so much potential.
So did Chuti's 2 series.
I think. I don't know. I haven't watched the Flux for ages. I need to go back and watch it. I don't know. I have to pass on that one. The Flux, I think, had so much intrigue in it. But then the Flux did have the timeless... No, it didn't, because that had already happened. I don't know. Maybe this was better than the Flux thing. Maybe. Just because the Flux didn't make sense. At least it kind of made sense. Oh, yeah, because all the way through it, my son kept saying, I could say, where's old... We call him Old Man Tennant now. Old Man Tennant.
Yeah.
Where is he? And at the end... When he fell onto the grass, I thought that's going to be Old Man Tennant's back garden, and we both said it out loud. Oh, it's going to be 14. Genuinely thought it was going to be him, like walking across the grass with a cup of tea. But the thing is, so you're telling me that him, being the person he is, sat in his garden in a world made of wishes and didn't intervene?
But as we saw with Chuti, he was just turned into a person.
Yeah.
So surely 14 would have just been turned into Mr. Noble.
But then if you're going down the thing that the Rani was trying to neutralize him by doing that, surely she'd have been able to know that the other one was there as well. The whole concept of Time Lords being able to sense of the Time Lords kind of went out the window immediately after Utopia and never came back.
Yeah.
But the thing is, he was there and he did nothing. Again. He's always there doing call. He's just like, I'm
perhaps
retired,
on holiday.
Mate. Yeah, I'm retired, mate.
Yeah, perhaps he's gone down to Bognor or something. Yeah. Yeah, he's gone to Space Bognor Regis for the weekend and missed it.
I know we deviated again, but it's just all the things that go through my head when I'm watching it. When the regeneration was happening, the other half of there's half of my brain going, don't let it be anybody. There was a small part saying it won't be Billy Piper, and then the other half was going, Donald Trump, please be Donald Trump. Because imagine that'd be such a better cliffhanger if it just ended with just his face.
One thing.
Anyway,
one more thing, Columbo. At the end, he throws the plaque or the whatever it is out the TARDIS window, so the robots can find it. Yeah, but Earth didn't exist at that point, and they say Earth doesn't exist. So, what version of time travel are we using?
Yeah, it's
because again, if Earth has been destroyed, so 11. River Song, Diary, read it in a book, breaks a wrist, Angel.
Oh,
sorry, that'll make sense of that now. So in the 11th episode where the angel grabs the wrist, he goes, "It's a fixed point because I've read it in a book." So the Earth being destroyed and him knowing this repeatedly, surely I read it in a book, mate. It is a thing. The Earth ended on that day.
Oh. Which again goes back to the thing that Belinda should never have been there in the first place, and they had to write her in to make it fit.
Just
another thing. They did Mrs. Flood. They didn't why was she the neighbor of Ruby? They talked about it, but I never really understood why.
Because they were waiting for the Doctor to appear.
But how did she know to pick Ruby? I think we've already established Belinda should never have been in this storyline in the first place. It should have just been Ruby, both regardless. But how did she know? That was never explained. How did she know?
There's a throwaway line.
I need to go watch it again. Something about I had to wait so long for you to turn up.
Yeah, because they knew they knew about him and them. And then had to implant themselves.
Sorry, I just have to digress because every so often I think of something else and go, well, how did that happen?
Yeah, so what we've established is this season was garbage, other than the gem that is the well and the waste of potential that was Conrad. We could have had so much. You could have been so good.
Could have been Lex
And
Luthor.
yeah, and instead we got a damn squib.
And I'm going to go it again because I've forgotten a bit. The more weight to the This Is Ruby's story arc, not Belinda's, was the fact that she forgave Conrad at the end and gave him a happy life. And yes, I was expecting her to kick him in the balls or something because I thought that was going to come. But the fact is she gave him a happy life, which adds more weight. This was not Belinda's story arc. Belinda was inserted into this story to make it work. It's been Ruby's story arc all along. Yeah, because the whole Conrad thing was linchpin to that finale, and Belinda had nothing to do with it. When she got in the box, I said, "Why aren't they playing like lift music?" And she goes in the box because there wasn't even a chair. There was not even a chair.
No,
but Belinda just sat in that box while Ruby did all the work. It was Ruby's storyline, and they've whatever reason
because in theory. Because it was outside of time, that box, you close the door and you instantly open it again because nothing happens in that box.
Yeah, it's all Schrodinger's baby.
Schrodinger's box, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. It was Ruby's storyline. I guarantee it was. And whatever they did, they had to make it work. And they just shoved her in. Weird. Very weird.
This does bring us to a question. To quote the Buffy musical, where do we go from here? So, for Doctor Who, it will come back at some point, probably, maybe, perhaps. But more importantly, for the Journeys and Fandom podcast, having done this for the last 8 weeks solid again, we go on holiday for a bit. But what do we do till 2027?
Well, Superman's out in a month and a bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there's the Marvel mess that may or may not be Fantastic Four that he's apparently going through a lot of reshoots at the moment.
Yep. Apparently so Superman.
Yeah, because Fantastic Four, they've made the female Silver Surfer the main hero in it, and people didn't like it, so they've had to kind of walk that back a bit. Superman is going through reshoots, isn't it? But I don't know if that's a bad thing or a good thing. I don't know. I think it was because it was quite long, wasn't it? It was like over 3 hours or something, so they've had to cut a lot out of it. So we've got that to look forward to. Other Marvel things have been pushed back to the end of 2026 now, which doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
We've got the war between the land and the sky, or whatever it's called. The
Fish in the Sea.
The ill-fated Doctor Who spin-off that looks hokey, if I'm honest, but we'll give it a go.
We'll give it a try. When's it out?
Well, we don't know. He just put soonish in his post. So
at least it exists. At least there's been proof it is real.
And Russell Tovey isn't the master, which has annoyed me, but there we go. So that we've got to review that. That's like 6 episodes. So 6 weeks worth of content right there.
Oh yeah.
That's enough. We'll think of something. We'll go on a slight hiatus while we both regenerate into Billy Piper, and then we'll decide what we're going to do next.
Yeah. If I said I have my blonde wig, I'll be back next time with a blonde wig.
Oh God. Well, you fit the bill of everyone's David Tennant. That means I've got to be the Rani, which probably is not a wise decision. Yeah,
it's gonna be Black Panther all over again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
God. So yeah, we go on hiatus.
Oh no, we'll have a break, and then the new series will get announced like next week, won't it?
Yeah, of course it will. So unless a new series gets announced next week, we'll be back in July.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, because I think we both just need a sleep. I'm going to sit in my shed, like old man Tennant, and drink some tea,
and just ride out the end of the world.
Yeah, just ride out this. Yeah,
I'm retired.
Yeah. I'm done and retired. It's your new bloke's job. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, I will simply sit in the shed and just let the hate boner subside. We started with it, we're going to end with it. It's going to knock over some furniture.
On that note, cheerio for now.
Bye.